And we're back from a break on the Brother Side podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
Today we have Angela Schmit with Schmit Law Firm and Counsel for Coaches.
Hello.
What's up, Angela?
Hi.
I feel like you're yelling.
Am I yelling?
I feel like you're yelling.
Wow,
What episode
I'm just
is
so
this?
excited. This is episode 15.
15. 15 is kind of a milestone.
And we're drinking Coors.
Big deal.
Coors.
We
Cheers.
are with the
Finally,
Blue Mountains.
Cheers to the
Bluish
Coors.
Mountains.
We've actually been searching for a guest that will drink Coors with us.
Oh,
so
seriously?
Yeah, you passed, and we
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I grew to love it when I lived in Denver. So
How long did you live in Denver?
For what did we later? 5 years we were in Denver.
Okay.
Went to law school and then worked there for a few years. So
All right.
Isn't that...
lots of drinking in law school.
Yeah, well, there's drinking in all schools, right?
All colleges.
Colleges.
Not at Westridge Elementary
Well,
where my kids go.
High school for
Let's hope
you.
not.
Yeah, all right. A little bit in high school.
So let's get into your background a little bit here, because today we're going to break the stigma of attorneys, of
I hope so.
being pretentious, egotistical, maybe a little asshole-ish.
All the fun things.
Yeah. So
All the best things.
we have to know a little bit more about you. You're from Iowa. That makes you a Hawkeye fan?
Yes, it does. Although
Should we
I
end the
will
show?
say,
Yeah.
no.
Show's over.
My dad lived in La Vista since I was in like 8th grade, so the Nebraska's been growing on me, a little
Yeah.
bit. But
Really?
if I really had to say it, I'm a diehard Irish fan. So Notre Dame.
Irish over all?
And all the way, yep.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
So should we talk about the Alabama game? Or
we should. I think that's too soon to talk about.
we need a drink for that?
I definitely need a drink for that.
The crime scene is still too fresh because that was a bloodbath.
There
I
was
will say, at least we covered the spread because
Yeah.
I had some people, betting on that at least.
Yeah.
So.
There's no expectation for you guys to win that game.
Not really. It's one of the
Probably
best
not.
Alabama teams, and even
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. So we
Is it
hung
right?
in there.
Yeah.
We did all right.
Yeah, you
We
were
got
in
one
there.
touchdown called back, so it would have been even closer had
Yep.
that actually been a touchdown.
Pesky
So.
penalties. Nebraska knows a lot about that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know how Nebraska's grown on you as bad as we've been in the last
I don't know.
20
There's
years.
just
It's the culture.
I remember when we first moved to Omaha, and I went to the grocery store during a Nebraska game, and then the game's over the loudspeakers, and I was just like, "What is going on?" It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can't escape it anywhere during a game day. So
It's not like that in Iowa.
I don't ever remember it being like
Yeah.
that.
Is
Yeah.
there a divide in Iowa? Like, if you're on the east side, then you're an Iowa State fan?
There's a
Is
lot.
that-
There is definitely a divide, yeah. And I know, my brother-in-law went to Iowa State, so he's probably not too happy that I lean Hawkeye. But
Sure. How big
Who
is
cares
that
about
rivalry?
Blake, huh?
Yeah. How big is that rivalry?
it's pretty. I'd say it's a pretty decent rivalry. So yeah.
Do people key cars and stuff like that?
I don't know. I stayed out of all that.
A lot of
so.
vandalism. You've never represented any vandalizers in the
Vandalizers.
Iowa State rivalry?
No, can't say that I have. I have avoided criminal law like it's the plague. So
Yeah.
that is not my forte.
What is your forte?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mostly work with business owners. I do a lot of business and employment law and help them start their business, grow their business, hire their team, fire their team if that's the case.
Sure.
We will help
whatever
you
might be.
fire your team.
Get out of here, Johnny.
I think I missed that on the commercial.
Yeah, it's not appealing, but that's usually when they come to me is when they want to get rid of someone. And then they're like, okay, how do I do this right the next time?
I've unfortunately fired a lot of people in my time, and I don't know that I've always done it by code or law.
Yeah.
Alex the Executioner Pearson. That's
Get
what
out of
they
here.
call it. The executioner's coming. Run for your cars.
Yeah, well, some days
You
it can be
did
that
fire
bad.
a ton of people.
My tolerance for I just didn't have patience for bullshit. So
Well,
To be
that's
fair,
true.
though, he hired a lot of people,
Yeah.
I did. I hired a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but then fired them like a week later.
Yeah,
They're not a good fit,
Your
they're not a good
tenure
fit.
wasn't very long.
No.
Yeah.
Am I?
Not under the
It's good
executioner.
that we're in at-will state, so you don't have to,
What made you want to become an attorney?
It probably goes back to, I don't know, I'd say high school.
Okay.
I was on the debate team. I was one of those nerdy
Nerd.
kids. Definitely.
Nerd.
Majorly. Then I did mock trial when I was at college and just loved being in the courtroom and doing that. And my mom will say probably started earlier than that because I used to argue with her quite a bit.
Did
but
you win those arguments?
I think so.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
Whoever thinks
definitely.
they lost an argument.
But now
Definitely not you.
No.
now I have, my mom's a redhead, and now I have a redheaded child, and so
Oh.
now it's coming back to bite me. So
Huh.
they just definitely.
Yeah, they're a different
Lot of-
animal, and they'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I was at a bar and this girl had red hair, and she goes, "Yeah, you don't want to mess with me." I'm like, that's a bold statement to come out of the gates with. And I
Yeah.
was just
Like,
what?
I just met you.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
That's
you.
attractive.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I moved on from that quickly. But, so you were a super nerd in high school and college.
Definitely.
And why did you pick the area of expertise that you're in right now?
So it's interesting. I remember when I was writing my essay to law school, I was writing it about my grandpa because he was born in Sweden. He came over here. He was very technical minded. So he worked for Oyster, the kitchen company, and
Okay.
had
yeah.
a ton of patents. So I had done research on like all the patents that had his name on it because he was like the designer. And I was like, what the hell? He only got $50 like as an employee to create all these
That
patents.
doesn't seem fair.
I should be an heiress right now. Like, I
Right.
don't understand why we don't own the company. So I was just, I don't know. I've always been driven to like, don't do it for someone else, do it yourself. So wanted to go to law school, figure out how do people legally do this themselves and actually have it be in their name. And so I never wanted to do like patent law. That's like a whole, I'm not that technical, like scientific person.
Yeah, that seems
but
like
it's
very-
definitely drove me towards wanting to like work with business owners and help them protect their assets and that kind of thing. Although I will say I did kind of get led astray when I was in law school a little bit because I got hooked on family law to start with, and that's a whole nother animal.
Oh, yeah, I'm
So-
sure.
What do you mean you got hooked on it? Like someone, like,
I,
hey, you should try this. I think you'd be really good at family law.
Well, kind of. I started working for a judge who was a family law judge, and I was like, oh, I love that. And then I'm from a family who is divorced. Like my parents are divorced,
Sure.
so I don't know. It just like was intriguing to me, and like at that time, Colorado was kind of like developing law and different things like that. Like same-sex marriage was just happening, and so I was seeing all the like, changes in the law happen. And so I thought, oh, family law sounds like really interesting. So, and I worked for a few different firms that's what they did. So when I started as a lawyer, I started as a family law attorney. And then it took me kind of doing some employment law for other people, and then actually starting my firm is when I was like, okay, now let's get back to business law because that's really what we want to be doing.
I picture family law out of all law. All law is messy. You
Yeah.
know.
Or can be.
Can
Yeah.
be, but I picture family law just being a shit show.
It's
Is that-
very,
Just so much drama.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People get
I've-
nasty.
It's terrible. I've heard people say, like, I don't do criminal law, but I've heard them say, like, criminal law, their clients are, like, not necessarily the best people, but they're on their best behavior because they're trying to, like, get out of trouble.
Right.
Family law attorney or family law clients, they're, like, generally good people, but this literally brings out the worst of them. And so they're on
Yeah.
their worst behavior. And so you just see people, lie, cheat, backstab, do, like, all
Everything.
this,
It's unbelievable.
everything. So yeah, you just I'm done with that. So
Well, it's money.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a piece of the pie. Usually,
Yep.
that's what it comes down
Yeah.
to.
And kids.
Yeah, which
Nobody wants
it's
the kids, though, do
intertwined
they?
with the kids, but
There's a few, handful of guys I work with. Many guys I work with have been divorced, but there's a couple in particular that had like some messy divorces. One of which his
Should we give him a shout
ex-wife.
out?
No, I don't want to shout out on this one. Shout out to no. His ex-wife wanted to take the kids to South Africa.
What?
And yeah,
like
'cause-
permanently or
permanently.
oh wow.
Yeah, because her new boyfriend lived there. He was a doctor there.
Okay.
And she, like, hey, I'm going to move them there. She was trying to make this argument, like, they're going to be more cultured and they're going to learn all these new things. He's like,
What?
and he's a great dad, like, very involved. And he's like, you can't take my kids halfway across the world. Like,
yeah.
that's how.
I've
they'll
only
come back
tried
for
to
summers.
move a client to Australia. That's what,
How,
it didn't
how do you
work.
find someone on Tinder in
Tinder.
South America?
South
Or
Africa.
South Africa.
Well, he was a doctor at UNMC, and then
Okay.
and then she also worked there, and then they met. Bow bow bow, and then yeah, bow chicka wow wow. Yeah,
It's really the
That's
new
the thing.
boyfriend or new girlfriend you have to worry about in those relationships, because those will either help your case a lot or really, really hurt your case.
sure.
So,
Yeah. Needless to say, they didn't last as a couple, so she's glad. Everybody's glad that didn't
Yeah.
end up happening.
Yeah.
But it's just an example of like in the moment of their divorce, like he's like mystified by even the suggestion that could happen. Just
Yeah.
no, like you can't take my kids.
Yeah.
It's so. I think yes,
You can't make this
I
stuff up,
agree.
though. It's
yeah,
crazy.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's not even like that bad of a story from what you've heard.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
Do you have a story you can share, or is
Do
that
I have-
classified?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, not using names.
I think there's a few that stand out to me. Like, there's a couple that I worked on. One was in Colorado where it was like the sperm donor case gone bad.
Oh boy.
Like,
I like it.
They didn't want a baby, but he ended up giving a donation. And then
And the wife didn't know about it, or the girlfriend?
Oh no! She wanted it, but then she told him that she destroyed the sample like after they broke up, but she didn't.
Oh.
She ended up, I don't know,
Using
turkey
it.
bastering it or something, and so they ended up having a kid together, which he found out like 2 years later, and then
Wow.
is fighting for custody of the kid because now he wants to be a part of it. It was like
Jerry.
it was crazy.
No, it's Maury. You are the dad.
The dad.
You are
Yes.
the father.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
That I mean it's comical now. I'm sure it wasn't to that guy, but
Right.
I asked, so my wife had to go through IVF, and I asked the doctor, I said, have you ever accidentally
Like
mixed
messed-
up the samples? And she goes, I mean, there's so many checkpoints, it would be nearly impossible, but it is possible. I was like, so,
That makes me feel so much better.
yeah,
Yeah.
very confident right now. But yeah, that's kind of a scary thought,
scary.
you know?
Yeah.
That doesn't look like me at all, you know? Weird.
Milkman. It's
The
hard to
milk.
make the milkman excuse when it's IVF.
Right?
Right.
Do you have any other good stories?
Oh man. So I would say I don't know. One of the sadder ones that I saw was like a remarriage, and they both had adult children, and then they were doing their estate planning, and the dad decided, or the husband decided, he didn't want his wife's children to inherit everything. Well, that created such a huge rift in their families that they ended up filing for divorce, and the whole divorce was just because her children wanted. I mean, he was
Wow.
very wealthy, and so her children wanted their half of his estate, and it was just like, I don't know. They were a happy couple too, like to
Right.
begin with.
And
but
then it just.
and this went on for like years too. He ended up actually dying before the whole divorce was done. So, and then I left that firm, so I don't know how it ended.
Oh,
But
wow.
It was pretty terrible. But
I would have no desire to be an attorney. No offense. I mean, it gets,
I mean, I know you love it, but
Being-
man, do I not want to do it.
well, I took business law in college.
yeah.
And
well, you
just-
own a business, so
Yeah.
you kind of.
But the terminology, it's almost like Shakespearean. Like, it just tries to fool you. Thou,
The
shall,
legalese.
all those
The
terms.
legalese. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's where, I tried to stray a little bit from the typical attorney. Like, I'm like always trying, let's just pare this down to normal language.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of times what I do is just I'm reviewing contracts. I'm trying to make them actually like normal people terms instead of using crazy words. But still, I mean, there are some things that I struggle with because I'm like, well, we have to say it that way because
Right.
it means, but
So it'll hold up in court. if it-
yeah. But that's, I mean, a lot of what I do, especially with the type of clients that I work with, like they don't want super formal, super legalese. Like they want real, they're like usually service providers and they have intimate relationships with their clients and they want like normal, like talk instead
Yeah,
of
yeah.
crazy talk. So
We call that
Yeah.
Spanglish.
Spanglish.
almost.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I mean, I can't tell you how many documents I've read where I'm like, looks good. You know,
I have no idea
like
what that meant.
how many people read like an Apple agreement?
Yeah,
That thing's
I was
like
just thinking the
10
same
pages
thing.
long at least.
Yeah.
It could
People
say, I'm
like
going to murder
me.
you.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you read it? One of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Well, so it's funny. So I've started now like writing those kind of agreements,
Oh,
like those
geez.
online like whatever.
The
and I'm
consent
like,
forms?
now I'm probably the only one who reads these, but I'm like, oh, let me read that. Let me, you know.
Oh
But
yeah, I
Is
just
there-
scroll to the bottom, hit agree.
Accept.
I
it's
assume it's
yeah,
okay.
they're usually just assume it's one-sided, assume you have no rights,
Right,
and
yep.
you're giving up your privacy probably.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that kind of the biggest thing in those agreements is privacy stuff?
privacy, intellectual property, like
Mm-hmm.
who owns the rights to what, things like that are usually.
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
everybody's
you can't
just
sue them
sign
for
me up.
anything. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to be like on Facebook or something, you can't really go to them and negotiate the terms of it. So
Right.
Sure.
you're just gonna click yes and
You're signing up
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Like,
You're
under
signing
these
up.
terms.
we've given up so much of our like privacy rights as a
Oh.
country. It's crazy. Like
And it's not going to get any better though either.
I don't think so.
With
No.
all the social media, I mean, you just click and continue to give it up,
Yeah.
give it up.
Yep.
And yeah, my wife was watching a series. I can't remember the name of it, but it was on Netflix, and it was about privacy.
Okay.
And she's like, it's scary how much like we've
Yeah.
given up our rights.
Isn't
Social dilemma.
That so yeah,
Right?
social dilemma.
Maybe that's what it was.
That's
yeah.
that
That's
is
crazy.
scary. Like
Yeah.
and just like how they target the news feed to only. I mean, that's what I think's created such like a disparity in our viewpoints. Like everybody's you're here. It's so extremist.
right.
It's like because they just feed you these extreme thoughts on both ends.
Well, the people in that show that, work for Facebook and Google, some of the higher ups
Yeah.
are sad that they even came up with these algorithms
Yeah.
to like keep you addicted to this stuff. And
The
they have
unintended
issues
consequences.
not looking at it.
Right. Their own product.
Their
like,
own
Yeah.
product,
Like,
yeah.
I've been targeted. I did this to myself.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like an addiction or something.
Basically.
Yeah.
So part of, law, there's a stigma, mostly males. Is that changing?
So it's interesting because when you go to law school, it's like 50-50 now,
Okay.
men and women in it. But then when you look at like the partner level, like at different firms or just older attorneys, like women just drop out so much faster and they don't make it to partner level. And so it's like you start the rat race pretty equally, but by the end of the day, it does become pretty male dominated.
Do you think that's because women, start with families and have kids and then...
I think
that
that's a
attracts-
lot of it. I do think that's a lot of it. I think maybe women too just like change careers different, like switch
Sure.
out a little bit. But it is hard. I mean, there's such a wide variety too. Like I own my own law firm. I'm a solo practitioner. I can pretty much do whatever I want. But if you go work for like a bigger law firm, there's just so much more hierarchy and
Oh, yeah.
bureaucracy and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And so if you take time out to have kids, like you're just pushed down kind of that. You're on the mommy track now.
Right,
You're not
right.
like,
It's just so unfair. Like it shouldn't be that way at all. I mean,
I'm not a fan, but
Do you envision-
that's why I don't work for big law.
Do you
Right.
envision hiring people for your firm?
Yeah,
Well,
actually,
more
yeah.
attorneys.
Yeah. So today I just actually sent an offer letter to my assistant, so I'll be taking someone new on board to help me with that side of
Nice.
things.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah. So I'm going to start growing the team there. And then, I've had attorneys work for me in the past. And then the one that I really liked, she went in-house somewhere else. So got her
Boo.
dream job,
Becky.
I guess.
Yeah, we're not giving
Yeah.
a shout out to Karen.
Yeah.
No chance.
It's got to be Becky or
Yeah.
Karen, doesn't it?
Yeah. Close.
Yeah, close.
So were they like 1099 employees then, or
No,
were they
straight
actually
up
they were?
employees.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had to do all the payroll taxes and all that fun stuff.
Yep. Running a business isn't easy.
It's not easy. And it's like, it's so much easier to hire like an independent contractor. When you hire an employee, then you have just, so much more that goes into it as far as like taxes and reporting and, keeping track of all that stuff. So it's,
Sure.
but I will say like doing it myself has helped me so much more in helping then clients do it and
Sure.
make it easier for them because I understand the pain.
Right. I'm living this. I'm right alongside you.
And everyone just thinks, oh, you're the business owner, you're making all this money, and you know you have overhead, you have all these things to keep track of. I mean, I'm trying to hire my first employee with my franchise right now, and this morning I went through my checklist of like, okay, I gotta have I-9s, W-4s, background checks, all the employee posters, federal, state
Notices,
notices.
Yep.
It's just like,
I like that you have a checklist, though. The nerd in me kind of perks up at that.
Ooh, did you say checklist?
yeah.
Oh, I hope it's part of an Excel spreadsheet.
And I always feel like I'm missing something though too, you know. But you know, I'll figure that out as.
Well, is
things
a lot of
develop.
that through the franchise? Like that's part of their checklist?
No, that's just one I've created for my own. I mean, they give you more of a basic
Like marketing
outline, and more marketing materials and stuff like that.
But that kind of stuff is on you?
Yeah, I mean, they'll give you recommendations, but
Sure.
as far as like how you set up your company, if you're going to do an LLC, they don't tell you what you have to do. That's all on you. And so if you want to do an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whatever, you have to figure that out with your attorney. And
Your attorney and your accountant are your best friends
Right.
in starting a business.
exactly.
Yeah,
Interesting.
in my opinion.
I don't even mess with that. I went straight to my attorney, and he works really well with my CPA, and said, hey,
Yeah.
can you guys just do this and then do that? And they take care of 50% of it up front,
Yep.
which is nice.
Yep.
See, I went through LegalZoom when I started my
Oh,
company.
no, don't say that.
Started my
The
LLC.
nerd's ears popped up again.
Went through to build my LLC, a little LegalZoom, and boom, I'm a company, baby.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
in
I'm-
business.
Lord.
I'm like small fries. I do just a side business of CPR training.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm moving thousands of dollars by any means.
Uh-huh.
I do a handful of classes a year. So
Yeah.
for me, it wasn't.
Well,
worth
it makes me happy
investing
that
in.
at least you have a separate legal entity, but
Yes, where many
many people don't
peers
even do that. Yeah.
just get paid under the table, which part of it too was like I want to be able at the time, which I haven't really done well, was like I wanted to market myself or like network and market, and I'm like I can't just network as Justin Pearson, CPR trainer. I wanted to have make it more legit.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And that way I felt like people would take me more seriously. Now,
Yeah, but you have to go out there and promote it.
I said I haven't been holding up my end of the bargain, okay?
Yeah.
But when I set it up, that was the idea.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to network.
That is true.
It's not like I don't want to. It's just part of it too is having young kids. I watch my kids on my days off. So, to make it to a meeting, I got to take my kids to daycare, or my wife has to, have the time available to
Yeah.
watch them. So it's just,
Or you could have done what I did. So I started my business when I was 5 months pregnant. So I went to all those networking meetings with a little infant in my arms,
Oh,
and I was
boy.
like,
Did
"Hey,
you
I'm
really?
here." Yeah. So for
where were you
several months.
networking?
I did
Oh,
a lot
boy.
with
Here's
like
the pitch.
No.
Oh, no.
No, keep going.
I would say the Sarpy Chamber was a big one.
Sure,
So I did
yeah.
a lot with them, and I've done some with Centersphere and other groups like that. So
Yeah.
check them out. But
Are you in Centersphere?
no, I'm not currently. I was just talking to my marketing gal about joining it this year and like getting more involved in it. So
Yeah, I'm a member. He's a member.
Okay.
His wife is El Presidente.
well,
Yeah.
maybe by the time this airs, I will be a member. So we'll just say that.
Well, this airs tomorrow, so I guess
Okay.
time's ticking. Time's
Really
ticking.
fast.
Get
I better
on it.
go sign
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, they just redid their website and they're going to have an app
Okay.
out. So it's
Oh, an
it's-
app.
Yeah, which is kind of a big deal for them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small company. So
Yeah. They seem to do a really good job. I've heard really good things. So
There's a lot of people in it, a lot of good people.
yeah.
So I've probably dished out more business than I've given business, but I had
Yeah.
DJ services, so those aren't utilized all the time until I bought this franchise. So now I'll see more benefits, but
Yeah.
DJ is kind of a one-off. Like,
Well,
you only need
and
it.
2020 wasn't a great year
No,
for DJing.
terrible, terrible year.
Yeah. Hey, I'll get your wedding. Oh gosh, it postponed.
Oh,
Anybody
your
want to
wedding.
dance by their tables tonight? Make sure you're social distancing. Hey,
Keep those masks
And
up.
on your
Hey.
little X.
Yeah.
Johnny, put your mask on. Yeah, no, that's
I mean, I think it's important to network, especially that's one of the things I like to offer my clients when I work with them is not just like the legal stuff, but also let me connect you to everyone else you need to grow your business. So,
Right.
yeah.
Is there a networking platform for attorneys?
Well, what do you mean? Oh, crap.
Hello, Rhonda.
Hello. I'm
Rhonda.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Karen, is that you?
No, that would be the attorney on the case I'm trying to settle. So we'll get back to
Ooh.
him. But yeah,
Yeah, that was an important one.
that's all right. He knows I'm doing this right now. So I
He
told
should have
him.
known better.
He should have known
He
better.
Is there animosity between attorneys, when you're going head to head on a case? There's got to be, doesn't there?
It's so interesting. I would say when I was younger, I used to feel that a lot more. But now I'm just like, we can fight it out and then we can go grab beers together afterwards. Like
Really?
there's no, like that's kind of the point I'm at now. Like, I don't know.
It's like the UFC. Like the UFC, I don't understand how you can fight each other and then shake hands afterwards.
I
And
know.
those guys do
Yeah.
the same
It's just
thing.
that mutual respect.
Yeah.
Like they know how hard it is to
Yeah.
be in that spot.
Yeah.
That are you looking at my bald head?
I mean,
You keep looking at
it's so shiny.
I know it's
hard not
shiny.
to.
I just keep looking at
Okay,
your
sorry.
eyes. Are
Eye
going up to-
contact. I got you. I'm surprised you noticed that.
Yeah, that's like the fourth time I've seen you do it. I finally just mustered up the guts to call you out on it. Yeah. So yeah, it's the mutual respect piece of it.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, we know at the end of the day, you're just advocating for your client and you're doing the best you can. And we all know our clients don't tell us 100% of the truth all the time or the full story. There's two sides to every story.
right.
So
3 sides.
Yes.
3 sides. Yeah, their side, your side, and the truth.
Right.
Right. So
Yes.
I learned that when I had procuring back when I was 20 at a house party, and I had like 18 accounts of procuring, which wasn't cool at the time. So I remember watching my attorney step out of the room, talk to the other attorney, and I don't think they knew I was like right there and could hear everything they were saying because it was kind of around a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And my guy was like, "Yeah, I mean, this guy doesn't have any priors. What do you say we just, get him an MIP and call it good?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think that sounds fair. All right, we'll see you later." I mean, that
It's
was
all
it.
negotiated,
And then
yeah,
they just
yeah.
walk up to the judge,
Yeah.
and it's already settled. And I'm like, "Huh, there goes $2,000."
That's
Well-
why you need to hire that attorney, though, to make it that
Yeah,
easy of a
that's true.
conversation.
Because otherwise, it's Alex
Otherwise,
having
you're
that
fighting it
conversation.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Because when you raise an example like that, it makes it seem like both of them didn't really care that much.
Yeah, they
It's
probably
like,
did.
I don't care. I don't know. We're getting
Yeah.
beers after this.
Right.
But they have a good working relationship.
Yep.
And, hey, you
And
scratch
that's
my
earned
back,
over
I'll scratch
time.
you. Yeah.
Yep. So you're paying for the value of that.
Oh, I
not
totally
for
understand, 'cause-
how long it took them to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Which
Well,
that took me a long time to realize too. And I think starting a business helped me. It's not because attorneys are like so much like the billable hour and how much time. Like I've gotten so like farther away from that where I do so much on flat fees now, and it's really like, what's the value of what I'm offering you instead of like how much time does it take me to do it. So
Sure.
I think that's a huge point for any business owner to start charging your value, not charging your time.
I totally agree. And
I like that.
I think people need to wrap their head around the idea that attorneys are good people to have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Because I think that some people are intimidated when they hear the term attorney or lawyer,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm in trouble." Like, no, they actually do a lot on the front end
Yeah.
to save you from
Yeah.
getting into trouble.
Yeah.
And most of the work I do with business owners, it's preventative, a lot
Yeah.
of it. It's like, what will keep you out of that lawsuit, or what will stop the employee from suing you, or how can we save money or save this relationship, this business
Yeah.
relationship, instead of,
Right.
if you need me to go to court for you, I will go to court for you, but let's try to prevent that from ever happening.
Right.
We'll get into the courtroom after this quick commercial break. Hey guys, Alex here with the Brother Side Podcast. For those of you who know me and know me well, you may not know that I tend to have an anxious personality. Hard to believe, I know, especially considering my outgoing personality. Normally I just manage this and take it as it comes, but I find that using Able CBD's tincture really helps to manage my anxiousness. I love that the products are organic and all natural, and especially appreciate that they make their products right here in the good old USA in partnership with American farmers. I didn't know that much about CBD before meeting recent ultramarathoner Adam Monkey, who actually swears by Able CBD, but I am so glad I was open-minded enough to give it a try. Oh, and by the way, it does not contain THC. We're grateful that Able CBD agreed to be a brand sponsor, and as a valued listener of the Brother Side, you can use our special code BRO15, BRO15, at www.ablecbd.com. That's www.ablecbd.com for a 15% discount at checkout. Check out ablecbd.com. We're back with the Brother Side Podcast. We have Angela Schmit here with Schmit Law Firm and Counsel for Coaches. Angela, we were just discussing a little bit about the courtroom. How often have you been in the courtroom, and what's that like? Is it kind of like Judge Judy?
Oh, exactly. I mean, if you go in front of Judge Lowe in Douglas County, it is just like Judge Judy.
Is it really?
I always feel like he's like auditioning for Judge Judy, because I'm like, man, he would be perfect. Or Judge Joe Brown, like that's who he reminds me of. But no, most judges are not like that. So
is Judge Joe Brown divorce court?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I know who he is, but I couldn't remember which.
Well, I don't know that or small claims. I don't know what it.
No, I can't believe.
I don't have much time for daytime.
Right. I can't believe people even watch that. I mean, it's like petty money. It's like $200.
Yeah, it's usually like nothing. But yeah, I don't know. I would say the biggest misconception about court is like you watch a TV show or something, and like everything happens like that day, the next day. Like it's so fast. Like a typical like case is gonna be like 6 months, a year, like somewhere around there. And so people just like the time perspective of how quickly things happen is just so different, I think, in real life than it is on, what people expect. But I would say I'm certainly in court a lot. Like I was in court a lot for family law stuff. Like we're always having temporary hearings and things like that. Other things, like, I don't know, I probably try like 1 to 2 actual trials a year, which is a pretty decent amount that actually go to trial.
Because most things get
settled.
settled.
Most of them settle, yeah. Or like, I'm supposed to go to trial next week. I'm like, fingers crossed that we'll actually get it settled. But if not, like, that's going to be a full day trial and probably
we're going to battle 2
days, 3 days.
Does that excite you to go into a courtroom?
So a little bit. It's just a lot. Like I over prepare. Like that is what I do. Like, so I like spend days, going through stuff, and you just like get in the zone. Like for me, it's like I've literally memorized everything, and like you mention something, I know exactly what exhibit that's referencing, and like I don't know. I definitely like.
You have a photographic memory then. Kind of.
Only like in intense moments, or like I'll go to trial, the adrenaline's rushing, like I'm just like everything's like happening. The next day pressure. I'm like, what? I don't remember like at all. So it's like
I want it to be like A Few Good Men. I love that movie.
You can't handle the truth.
I want to know like how many times you demanded like who ordered the code red, or like do you have a lucky bat that you think really well with?
I don't think so.
Like, something like that, because that's how I want it to be.
I will say I feel like I had a Legally Blonde moment once though, and like I kept objecting to something, and the judge was like, "Yes, Ms. Schmit, I've noted you're strenuously objecting." And I was like, "Oh, hey."
Do you scream objection?
So I mean, you do have to say objection.
Like, give us your objection.
Objection hearsay, or objection like.
So you can just kind of
irrelevant.
You don't have to yell it. Like,
objection, boss man.
There's not that many people in there. You're not like talking over this.
Not usually. Well, so that's interesting. Like the temporary hearings, you go to those. Like there's a courtroom of people. Mm-hmm. They're calling like 30 cases that morning. Like so
everyone's just waiting for their turn.
And everyone's listening to your case and your argument and things like that. But when you're actually like at trial, it's usually just your people in the courtroom. So it's yeah, it just depends.
I feel like I would just get intense and slap the table and say, objection!
Like, that makes no sense.
Mr. Pearson,
So,
sit back down.
It's
Okay.
definitely
You're in
different
MIP court,
in
shut up.
Colorado versus Nebraska. So like when I was in Colorado, it was much more formal. Like we stood up and blah blah blah. In Nebraska, everyone just like sits back at the council table and like talks and whatever. And that was, I don't know, just like little things like that were just different. And
It's
I was
not as
like,
formal.
So I came in and I was like this formal attorney and like citing my bar number, and the court just kind of looked at me like, okay, thank you. Like,
All right, nerd.
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
Rookie.
Okay.
We got a rookie.
but you know,
We got a new person. Yeah.
that was like 10 years ago. So I'm better now.
Well, that's good. The courtroom is intimidating. I've been in court,
So have I. Not good.
federal court once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Alex was.
I was a
Uh-oh.
gangsta.
It's not
No.
at all how I describe
No,
it.
not in that case. That was probably one of the scariest moments of my life, actually.
Really?
Being federal
You
court.
were very nervous.
It
Yeah.
is different. I will tell you, this year I had to actually give a deposition. Like somebody took my deposition this year.
Yeah.
Like I've never actually been the person like getting their testimony taken before. And I was like, it is definitely different on that side of the table. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
was weird.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was being represented, so I had things on the line, you
Yeah.
know, and
A lot of money.
a lot of money, maybe some jail time.
That was thrown
Uh-oh.
out there. Although
Yeah.
I don't think that was ever like but when someone says that to you, like that's a possibility.
yeah, yeah,
Obviously you go to the worst place, but like
yeah.
in your situation being like first time.
Well, that's where the attorney just like, let's take the emotion out of it. Let's just talk the reason.
Oh yeah,
and,
it was. Yeah, I mean
But
that's
when it's you and you're in it, it's totally different.
that was when I realized how much I appreciate attorneys and the network they have, because the situation I got in, my business attorney could not handle, so he referred me to another guy that was high up in Omaha
Yeah.
to take this case on, and through that connection, you know, he ended up getting it all expunged or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever the term is, and got me off. I was sweating major bullets. I'm like,
Yeah.
I might not make my wedding
Oh,
because I
no.
might
Yeah.
be in the doghouse.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Bet the wife wasn't too happy about that.
No, I mean, it was all kind of false, just to kind
It wasn't I mean
Yeah.
of to hit on it. They with my old company, is a lawn and landscape company. They tried to hit us for harboring illegals, which
Okay.
did not stick. But we had to go through the whole process.
Yeah.
It cost a lot of money,
Yeah.
and you know, it was all fictitious and made up. And we knew that, and it was a scary time. They did
Yeah.
not take that lightly.
Yeah. No, it's not.
you were targeted. Your business was targeted. You know, we had competing businesses going after, or basically coming after you guys, and you know, you were forced to defend yourself, and that's just a really hard position to be in.
It was awkward and expensive. I got the
Yeah.
best immigration attorney in Omaha, and he was not cheap.
Shout out. Is that a shout out?
Shout out to Don Shenzi. What's up, Don?
What up, Don?
I
Don
haven't
Shenzi.
I haven't seen Don in years.
That's a good
for
thing.
obvious reasons. But
That's a good
Sometimes you
thing.
don't want to see us.
Yeah.
yeah, you know what?
In that circumstance, for sure.
I wanted to get him a gift, but I'm like, his gift was all the money I paid. You're not getting no cheese and wine
Yeah.
for this deal.
Here's a
He should be
25.
giving you the cheese and wine.
Yeah, seriously.
No kidding. Here's a $25 gift card to Chili's. Like, thanks, lawyer
But it's
Shinzi.
good that your business attorney got you an expert. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of our job as
Yeah.
attorneys is like, we know when we don't know something and who you should be talking to.
Well, I mean,
So,
he knew it was just above what he does on
Yeah.
a day to day. He's like, I don't handle immigration, but let me make some calls for you. And that's
Yeah.
what he did. And he goes, this is the guy.
yeah.
Well, there's two of them. I can't remember the other one. Since it was federal and I had a business partner, we had to each have our
had
own
their own,
attorneys,
yep.
which is horse shit. But I mean, it's like we're
It's the same charges,
Yeah.
same
Well, but
thing.
you might have a conflict of interest, so.
Yeah, so
Or they
each
might
have
negotiate a different deal for each of you, or
If
I don't
one of you
know.
flips on the
One of
other-
you knew about it and the other one didn't. Who knows? So.
Oh,
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So this was the time that the Anthony Garcia, he was a Creighton professor that killed some people.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he was in the county court or city court. I was in the federal court. I'm like, what in the hell? Like, we know this guy did it.
Yeah.
And there's this huge trial around there. I'm like, I'm over here and he's over there. What?
I'm in federal court.
Yeah. It was nuts. So yeah, that was like 2015 or 16.
Yep.
But-
Gotcha.
It doesn't feel that long ago. In some ways.
I'm glad it's that long ago, honestly.
You kind of had a string as a business owner there with some just issues. It just seemed like big issues.
Yeah,
in a row there.
So what other issues have you had as a business owner?
Yeah, looking back, well, we started the business when we were 16. So when you're 16, you don't know anything, and everything's kind of trial and error, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Looking back, now I'm starting this franchise. I know what I need to do and who I need to call up front to avoid some of these issues. And through past experience, I know what to do and what not to do as far as involving 1099 contractors. We had a guy that was fertilizing for us as a 1099 contractor, and one day we wanted to, tell him he was done working with us. We didn't like his style of operations, the way he was approaching business decisions. So he's like, well, you can't do that. I'm a part owner. I'm like, of what?
Part owner?
Of what? And he's like, the company. I'm like, no, you're not. You're a 1099 contractor. Where are you on this? What do you call the agreement?
Like your operating agreement?
Operating
or your
agreement. I'm like,
you
yeah,
thought you had a partnership agreement.
Yeah, operating agreement. I said, where's your name on here? I don't see it. And he's like, I think at that moment he's like, shit.
Like I overplayed my hand.
That's
Yeah,
bizarre.
yeah. So then he wouldn't stop pestering us because he was trying to get the customers that he thought he brought in, and because he was a contractor.
So now he's soliciting your
Correct.
clients.
So then I had to have my attorney give him a little love letter
Yep.
and
Nice
cease
and
and
desist.
Yep, exactly. And that backed him off real quick, but it was just kind of like unneeded stuff for
Yeah.
a few months. It
Yeah.
took to really get him to back off.
But I mean, it was a lot of drama around that too.
Yeah,
at
there
the
was.
time.
There
I mean,
was.
that was
Yeah.
pretty, contentious period.
Well, and you don't know. I mean, I think your non-solicitation agreements and your non-competition agreements
Yep.
are important to have, so you don't have people taking it away, and
Correct.
yeah.
And it was
There's
a
all
thing
sorts
is
of
for
things.
him, it was a side business. It wasn't like his main thing. He did.
Yeah, he worked at UP.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had a
interesting.
full-time other job that he did, and this was a side business, and that's how yeah. But early on for you guys, it's crazy. He was like a mentor for you, and in some ways.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he was an older gentleman and been in the industry longer than we were.
Yeah.
My business partner and I. But then he just got kind of snippety and nasty towards the end when the business was really growing and he was not an owner.
He wanted more of it.
Yeah.
But, so that's where I always talk to people about, like, all the contracts you could have, but in like layman's terms, like set clear expectations and have boundaries. Like that's what 90% of what I talk to people about. So.
Well, you just have to be proactive. Like
Yeah.
now I have the approach, how can somebody screw me?
Assume they will screw you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold it. Yeah, that. so
Unfortunately,
true.
yes.
I mean,
How
that's
is this
kinda
gonna
new.
bite me in the ass?
Yeah, I mean that's how I think when I roll into every situation. Okay, how am I gonna get screwed here?
But the thing is, like, you just can't plan for everything.
No, you can't.
Like,
Yeah.
because sometimes reality is more crazy than the things that you
Yeah.
can think
Oh,
of.
for sure.
And that's. I mean,
I just had a client call me last week, and they were doing this, brand new launch of this new program they were offering. And they had someone who was in their mastermind group steal like everything, like steal their website, like basically just like copied it, like a copycat of everything, and was like trying to generate off of their marketing, like generate sales from their program. And
Wow.
just like, so it was like, that's where you realize, and fortunately, like they actually knew the person, which I thought was like the weirdest part of it. Like someone they knew actually like stole all that.
right?
So,
Yeah.
but,
you guys friends?
it was weird.
Not
So-
anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not no more.
But it was like immediately. That's where you have to, the cease and desist letter comes into play. The like policies you have on your website that say you own the intellectual property, things like that. But I don't know. I couldn't believe that someone they knew would do that.
It's amazing what people will try and pull off in business,
Yeah.
though. Like, How
and then
long
they
do you
just
think you're going
act
to get
like,
away with
oh,
that?
that was wrong. I didn't know that was wrong. Like,
Yeah. So in that moment, and the other side of these, potential lawsuits is it worth going to battle for? How much money am I going to get from this guy? So if this guy stole it from me and he's only worth $10,
yeah.
it's not worth anything.
Yeah. No, I think you always should have that conversation. Like, what, how far do we take this? And like, because it's not fun going to court. Like, you have to provide all these documents. You have to like go through this huge, long, drawn out process. You have to like expose yourself to the world.
Yep.
And then you have all this negativity because they're trying to like sling every little bit, of bad mud or whatever that they can at you. So I don't know. Is it worth it at the end of the day to spend the time, money, and effort to do that? So
right. Well, and then like these people, this guy or gal who's ever trying to steal this website, they don't get reprimanded. If you're not going to go after them, then nothing really happens to them, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do?
Well, if they're like stealing that, like there's fines that they can be subject to and things like that. It depends on how far it goes. Like, so we like hit them with a cease and desist letter immediately, things like that. They took it down right away, so there really wasn't a lot of harm that they did at the end of the day. And that's where too, like people are like, I want to sue this person. Well, like what harm did you actually suffer? So you have to like figure that out too.
How much business did you lose?
Did you lose any business?
Right.
Did it affect your reputation, like your goodwill, things like that?
Yeah.
So
You're kind of a psychiatrist a little bit.
a lot. Yeah, I
mean,
probably
that's
should have
talking
done
people off
that.
the ledge.
I do. I do a lot of that. Well, it's kind of funny because I actually started like a side business myself, a coaching business.
Yeah,
and
we want to talk about that too.
Yeah. But like that, the lawyer skills and coaching, it all goes hand in hand. So
that's a great segue to
coaching.
the Council for Coaches.
Yeah, so I guess elaborate a little more on the coaching side.
Yeah, so this year I started Council for Coaches, and part of it was preempted by most of my clients are service providers. A lot of them are coaches, like life coaches, business coaches, consultants, like marketing consultants, business consultants, things like that.
There's a lot of coaches anymore, isn't there?
It is like a booming industry.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm like kind of jumping in like while it's in this huge growth spurt right now.
Absolutely.
And she's like,
and it's
everyone start a
unregulated
podcast,
for
too.
the most part.
It's the COVID podcast time.
Yeah.
We're going to be one of the few that last.
Oh, we're going this
distance.
Go the distance.
That's right.
So.
Anyway, sorry.
No, but so part of me like started it because there's so many startup people who go to LegalZoom and things like that. So anyway, so part of this is like offering legal templates for actual, like for your industry, like things like that. So that was part of it. And then the other side is like coaching. And so coaching people, like business coaching mostly, but beyond the four corners of an agreement, we can talk about boundaries and things like that. So I usually say, let's look at all your relationships in your business, your clients, your, whoever's working for you, your employees, whoever, partners that you might have in business. Like, let's talk about, beyond just the agreements we can do, but actually how do you set like clear expectations and boundaries and like time and things like that? Because if you don't, like, you are just going to be burnt out. You are gonna you're gonna let people take advantage of you. You're gonna lose money, like all of those things if you don't establish what you will and won't do, like in these different relationships.
Handbook.
Yeah.
I think handbooks are huge.
Handbooks, SOPs, like things
Yep.
like that. Like, how are you gonna use your time? How are you gonna processes and procedures? Like,
Yeah.
Fire
department's big on SOGs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like
So
we have SOGs, not SOPs, but
what is the G?
The G is guidelines.
Guidelines. Okay.
So there is like a subtle difference there. Like
Yeah.
it's more like you should follow it this way,
Should do
but
it
there's
this way.
room for improvising.
Yeah.
So, and that's on purpose. Like, because
Yeah.
on a fire ground, any scene is so fluid, you just can't dictate, like, you have to do it this way no matter what. Because when you write things in black and white, like, well, Chief told me to do this,
Do
and
it this
I had to
way.
do it that way
Yeah.
despite the person hanging out the window there, like, it has to be fluid so that people that have been put in positions to make decisions can make the best decision based on the circumstances.
Yeah.
And so when you write SOPs and put people, paint them into a corner, that's not good for a very rapidly evolving situation that requires critical thinking.
Yeah.
So
and they're always work in progress. Like I feel like your contracts, you sign them, that's it until you like sign a new one. But like your SOPs or your guidelines, things like that, like you have to always be improving them and adjusting them and things like they're living documents. So and they're more like internal documents. So and I have like people who want to get rid of a client or a client's not paying or things like that. Like, and they're like, how far do I pursue this with chasing them for money versus like, when should I just let it go? And so it's like, that's where we create your internal policy. So, like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then after that, I'm just going to write it off. Like
bad
to
debt.
know, how much you're going to do. But
so why, not to beat a dead horse, but why are there so many, like, why is it such a booming business? Like,
why are there so many coaches?
Yeah, why is it like all of a sudden?
So
we've had a
interesting.
coach on here two podcasts ago, three podcasts
Williams,
ago.
right?
We had
Carissa,
Five Daily Hustle, yep.
We had Chris on.
Well, and Stacy's a coach.
Yeah, Stacy. Yeah, that's right. Stacy's a coach too.
I don't know. I think people, and I think it's a good thing. Like people are just like having a greater awareness about things in life, and then they're wanting to grow and improve. Like, so I hired a business coach. Like that helped me in my first few years. I still kind of do stuff with her, but it's just, I think it's different from somebody who's like, your therapist who is just like kind of sits there and listens to you. Like the coach actually gives you tools and like recommendations and advice. Like you need to be doing this.
Right.
And so I think people just are drawn to coaches more because they actually like see more of an impact and value in their life and their business and things like that. But
did you validate your coach? Like, all right, how can you coach me based on what? In her testimonial? Good reviews on Google.
Yeah.
It's all about the reviews, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's huge.
Yeah.
Reviews.
I wish you could
is.
delete them, because you're always going to have a couple bad ones.
Yeah. It's how you respond to them, though.
I know.
I mean, some people have like such an eloquent way of responding to bad reviews that you're like, oh, I love that person even more. So.
Right. Like, I feel differently about what I just wrote there.
I've
I've
seen-
actually never left a review on anything.
Really?
No, nothing.
Oh,
I
that's
just
not good. You
for
got to
me-
start that.
Well,
What
for
do you
me,
do to support business? You don't support your own, and you don't support others.
don't
yeah.
write reviews.
The thing is, I don't write bad reviews
Who's going to
either.
write a review for your podcast if you never write a review for anyone? I mean, it's like karma,
Oh, man.
It's
That-
karma.
It would be
is-
nice to get a good review on
Yeah.
that, wouldn't it?
Does
Yeah.
anybody? Is it? Maybe I should write one on our podcast.
I don't know if you can
One of
review
the
your
brothers-
own.
Sure, I could. I'll be totally transparent. It's me.
It's me, guys.
One of the main
awesome
I
podcasts.
love
Yeah.
this podcast.
Yeah, man, this podcast is sweet. Check it out. No, I bad experiences, good experiences. I don't know. I just never. I've thought about doing it. Actually, I take that back. Like I've been a part
Yeah.
of writing a review. Like after a good or bad experience, my wife will be driving home from like a hotel or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, that was so good. We need to leave a review. I will be a part of that.
Okay.
Does that
Give
count?
some input.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that helps. That helps.
But yeah, I'm terrible about that.
The part. I'm not even gonna go there.
I know where you're going, but no, don't do it.
What was I gonna say? I think, reviews are important, but it's funny how business owners, act on social media.
You think so?
There is a business owner somewhere in Omaha. I won't say who it was, but they made some politically insensitive comments and got their business pulled away as a franchise.
Ooh,
and I was like,
not a
man,
good move.
no. Like, you just have to be more mature. And then,
I think so.
last night with the, storming of the Capitol
Yeah.
building,
It's crazy.
there's a guy I know. He's a professional trying to grow a business and putting, go F yourself, Trump supporters. I'm like, man, I get what you're trying to say here, but you might want to rephrase like how you're putting that
Yeah.
out to the world, because that won't get deleted.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Like,
if you're trying to grow your
Anything
business,
I have
like,
to tell my clients is all the time, don't put stupid shit on Facebook
Yeah.
or like any
Yeah.
social media. Like, it can always be used as evidence against you. It can hurt your business. Like, it's just so stupid.
Polarizes you.
Yeah.
Like, you just all of a sudden cut out 50% of people that might have come there.
I mean, it's one thing if you're like targeting your ideal niche or whatever, but it's another thing when you're just saying like something really polarizing and like for no reason. Like, it's not helping anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And I know you want to just air out your opinion, but yell in your bedroom or something. Tell your wife, or tell somebody that without putting it on.
Yeah, think
in
before
writing.
you write it on social media.
We got 1 minute here.
We got it.
Okay.
1 minute. We kind of like to wrap it up with advice. What would be your biggest piece of advice for someone starting a business, or maybe on the coaching side, something you want to get out there to all of our millions of listeners?
Yeah. Oh wow, you really put me on the spot.
Well, you could.
I mean, so much pressure.
You
It's
could
a
pitch
huge
it.
audience,
Pitch it.
So.
You could pitch yourself. Pitch your business.
I honestly think like people really do need to team up with experts who know, so whether it's an attorney to help you with legal, an accountant to help you with taxes, like a marketing, like you just can't do it all. You can't wear all hats. You can't do everything for your business. So finding somebody who knows about your industry and who can help your business is going to be the best way. Like, learn to delegate, find an expert who can help you with that issue. So, and depending on what phase of business you're in. So that's kind of why I created the Council for Coaches, is to help startups. But then when you get in the growth phase of your business, you need one-on-one legal services. You need somebody to help you hire your team and do different things and have partners and investors and things like that. So that's where you need an attorney. So I think it's just knowing you can't do it all. Like, I know I've tried it and it doesn't work. So find other people to help you, and it does take a village, and best of luck. I think it takes perseverance too, and at the end of the day.
If you're a business owner listening right now, check out Schmit Law Firm. She'll help you out, get your business started, or help you with any business issues you have.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on today, Angela.
Thank
we had a
you.
good
Thank
time.
you, Angela.
Yeah, this was
thanks
great.
a lot. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much.
This is the Brother Side signing
Thanks
out.
for the Coors Light.
I'm Alex.
I'm
Coors.
Justin. Thanks again.
See ya.